In a quiet cemetery, a police K9 suddenly goes wild, barking, digging, and growling at a freshly covered grave. The officer yells for him to stop, but the dog refuses. What was buried there? What made a trained K9 react like that? The truth would shake everyone to their core. Before we start, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Officer Daniels adjusted his cap as he and his K9 partner, Max, wrapped up their late evening patrol. The air was still, the kind of quiet that makes every sound echo a little louder. Suddenly, Max froze, ears up, tail stiff. Without warning, he bolted toward the old cemetery at the edge of town, barking furiously. "Max, heel!" Daniels shouted, running after him. But the German shepherd didn't stop. His deep growls echoed through the rows of gravestones until he came to a halt before one freshly covered grave. Dirt was scattered, the grass uneven like it had been disturbed recently. Daniels frowned, breath heavy. "What's gotten into you, boy?" But Max wasn't listening. His hackles were raised, his barking sharper, more urgent. Then Daniels saw it, just for a second. The mound of soil shifted, as if something beneath had moved. His blood ran cold. Something was terribly wrong. Within minutes, backup arrived. 2 patrol cars, their headlights slicing through the fog that had begun to settle across the cemetery. The other officers exchanged uneasy glances as they saw Max. The K9 stood stiff, teeth bared, eyes locked on that same mound of earth. He wasn't barking aimlessly. He was warning them. One of the officers tried to lighten the tension. "Probably just a raccoon trapped under there," he said, though his voice wavered. Daniels shook his head. "No, Max doesn't react to animals like this." The dog's low growl deepened, vibrating through the silence. Then someone noticed it. The soil at the top of the grave was shifting again, tiny clumps rolling down the sides like sand. The movement was slow, deliberate. Daniels crouched, pressing a hand against the ground. The faintest tremor pulsed beneath his palm, not wind, not imagination. He looked up, his face pale. "Something's alive down there," he whispered. Max barked once, loud and sharp, confirming what no one wanted to believe. The cemetery was sealed off within the hour. Yellow tape fluttered in the cold wind as officers spread out, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Max paced restlessly, growling whenever anyone got too close to the grave. Daniels stayed beside him, unable to shake the unease gnawing at his gut. The caretaker, a thin, nervous man, arrived shortly after. His hands trembled as he held his lantern. "That grave," he said quietly, "belongs to Evelyn Carter. She was buried 2 days ago. Car accident." Daniels frowned. "Are you sure she was dead?" The caretaker hesitated, eyes darting away. "I didn't see the body myself. The funeral home handled everything." A heavy silence settled. Max began to whine softly, circling the grave. Then Daniels noticed something. The mound was higher than before. Like it had grown, the air turned colder. Somewhere beneath the surface, the faint sound of scraping echoed through the soil. Every officer froze. Daniels whispered, "Dear God, tell me you heard that too." By dawn, the cemetery looked like a crime scene. Floodlights bathed the grave in harsh white as Daniels stood beside Max, waiting for approval from the coroner's office. His radio crackled. A voice confirmed the emergency order. They could dig. A small team of forensic officers moved in, shovels biting into the soil. The air was thick with tension, every scrape of metal against earth sending chills down their spines. Max stayed perfectly still now, his eyes fixed on the ground, body tense like a coiled spring. "Careful," Daniels warned. "Don't damage the casket." The top layer of soil peeled away easily, too easily. One officer knelt, brushing dirt from the coffin lid. That's when it happened. A faint sound echoed from below. Tap, tap. Then a weak scratch. Everyone froze. "Did you hear that?" whispered one of the men. Another officer stepped back, eyes wide. "Something's inside." Daniel's pulse spiked. "Get it open now!" As the crowbar pried the lid loose, the scratching grew frantic. Then, silence. The lid creaked open, and for a split second, no one breathed. Flashlights cut through the dust swirling from the disturbed coffin. Then came a sound that froze every soul present. A faint, trembling gasp. Inside the casket lay a woman, pale, terrified, her eyes fluttering open as if waking from a nightmare. Her fingers were bloodied, nails cracked from clawing at the wood. She tried to speak but could only manage a hoarse whisper. "Help! Me!" Gasps rippled through the officers. "She's alive!" one of them shouted, stumbling backward. Daniels leapt forward, shouting for medics. Hands moved frantically, lifting her out, clearing airways, wrapping her in a blanket. Her chest rose and fell weakly, but she was breathing. Max barked once, sharp and urgent, as if telling everyone to hurry. Daniels knelt beside the woman, shock written across his face. "You're safe now," he said softly, though his voice trembled. The medics confirmed it. She had a pulse. Faint, but real. Daniels looked at Max, his heart pounding. "You knew," he whispered. "You somehow knew." Max's ears twitched. His gaze steady on the trembling woman. No longer a corpse, but a miracle pulled from death itself. At the hospital, hours later, the woman lay surrounded by doctors and detectives. Monitors beeped steadily beside her, proof that she was impossibly alive. When she finally opened her eyes, Daniels stepped closer, Max sitting silently at his feet. Her lips trembled as she spoke. I heard everything," she whispered. "The doctors, the prayers, the coffin closing. I screamed, but no one heard me." Tears rolled down her pale cheeks. "Then I heard barking. I thought maybe I was dreaming." The doctor explained the unthinkable. Evelyn Carter hadn't died in that car crash. She'd suffered a rare condition called catalepsy, where her body had gone completely still, her heartbeat slowing until it was undetectable. She had been mistaken for dead. Daniel's hands clenched. So she was alive. The whole time. The hospital administrator bowed his head. It was a chain of failures. A rushed declaration, no secondary exam, no verification from the funeral home. Max let out a soft whine, his head tilting toward Evelyn's hospital bed. Evelyn smiled weakly through tears. "He's the reason I'm here," she said, voice shaking. "He heard me, when no one else did." Daniels glanced down at his partner, pride welling in his chest. "You saved her, buddy," he whispered. "You saved a life buried beneath silence." 2 weeks later, the sky was clear when Evelyn walked, slowly but steadily, into the police station. Her face was pale but peaceful, a soft smile breaking through as she spotted Max resting near Daniels's desk. The moment their eyes met, Max's tail began to wag. Evelyn knelt beside him, tears welling up. "You saved my life," she whispered, wrapping her arms gently around his neck. Max leaned into her embrace, letting out a quiet, content sigh. Daniel smiled, emotion thick in his voice. "You've got quite the guardian angel." Later that day, they visited the cemetery one last time. The grave was now covered with flowers, sunlight dancing across the marble. A small plaque gleamed at its base. "To Max, the hero who heard the living among the dead." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life miracles.